Hey everybody, this is Mike with Free Roaming Hiker, and in this video we're going to look at why you shouldn't shortcut trails and why they're so destructive to the habitat and the trail itself. And this frequently occurs where the trail is going up a steep section via switchbacks, so those back and forth. A lot of shortcutting occurs on there. And we're going to look at why it's so destructive, but really one of the most important questions is why are you shortcutting? If you're climbing up a mountain or you're going on a long hike that has a steep section, is saving a few steps really going to make that big of a difference? I mean, in the grand scheme of 3, 5, 10 miles, what is shortcutting a few steps off your hike really going to do? All it does is just leave a negative disturbance on the trail and destroys habitat. So are you really going to feel that much better just because you didn't hike 20 steps in your 5-mile hike along a steep mountain? I mean, it doesn't really make much sense if you think about it. Really what happens is the overall habitat and the vegetation winds up suffering. One person shortcutting tramples the vegetation and starts making it harder to grow. And then when other people see that somebody else has gone there, they're likely to follow those footsteps as well, continuing to trample the vegetation and ultimately just wiping it out. It's not long at all before all that vegetation is completely gone and there's a whole new trail there just because people kept following somebody's footsteps. A lot of times the vegetation has a hard time recovering. It's very fragile, especially as you get higher up in elevation. It has a hard time regrowing. So those few little footsteps can have a devastating impact on a lot of those ecosystems. At the same time, that new trail is inevitably going to widen, and that's going to even push the vegetation farther off the trail. And so you're looking at more and more vegetation loss and habitat loss as people continue to shortcut that new route. Now, if you're not concerned about a few plants, well, then A, why are you out there? And B, it actually gets a lot worse. That new shortcutted trail that you're going up trying to get away from that switchback, it actually winds up eroding that same trail because you're cutting into that trail system, and that new trail is going to wind up breaking off more dirt and eroding the actual trail that you were trying to shortcut. In time, that trail winds up digging deeper into the actual trail, making the primary trail a lot harder to navigate. This creates unneeded hazards for every other hiker and makes the trail itself a little bit more dangerous. But it doesn't even end there. Over time, rain and snowmelt are also going to use that new drainage, and that's going to erode the mountainside faster, the hillside. It'll run down that mountain, creating a new drainage that the trail crews didn't want, and that it's actually very unnatural for the mountain itself, which ultimately erodes more vegetation. And speaking of trail crews, there's simply not enough for them to manage all these shortcuts and mark them off. And so it's up to other people and casual trail hikers to make sure people are following the rules and not eroding the trail or the mountainside quicker than it needs to. Now take Grand Teton National Park. You have a minimal backcountry staff patrolling over 280 miles of trail. And that's just during the short summer season. Discouraging people from shortcutting is only one of their tasks while they're in the backcountry. They're also checking on permits, they're checking the status of trails, they're clearing out fallen logs, they're making sure people are doing what they're supposed to be doing in the backcountry. Shortcutting trails is not their primary job, so there's a lot going on and there's very little resources to patrol. Now, that's just a 330,000 acre park. Adjacent to Grand Teton is the Bridger Teton National Forest. This has thousands and thousands of miles of trail spread out over 3.5 million acres, and there's virtually no staff or no rangers to go out and check on the trails and make sure people are behaving like they're supposed to and not shortcutting trails. For that, they're dependent on essentially just volunteers, if any nonprofits are even present. So with shortcuts occurring throughout the country on all sorts of different types of trails and ecosystems, this leads to a lot more unnatural erosion throughout the country in areas where it wouldn't have happened before. And really, it's all because you wanted to save a few steps on your several mile hike. So it really doesn't add up. So next time you're out hiking, please reconsider shortcutting. All it does is destroy habitat at the cost of, not really saving that much energy in the long run. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down in the comments below. Please like and subscribe for a lot more hiking info and videos like this. And thanks for watching, and happy safe trails.